Question number 3, the Honourable, Dr. Pamjit Palmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Associate Minister of Justice. What recent statements has he seen about the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill?
The Honourable David Seymour.
Mr. Speaker, many and varied but overwhelmingly positive. To take just 3 that I received in the time leading up to the hour leading up to question time. Never thought I'd see a politician take on the treaty grift in my lifetime, especially not a Māori politician. I support redress in the tribunal, but I know you're right to wonder if the expansion of the organs of state for us becomes more a crutch than a helping hand. It's patronising to hear TPM argue we need special treatment to compete. I worry the next generation might hear that and start believing it. Kia kaha, bro. Another?
Point of order.
Look, standing orders.
Hang on just a minute.
Thank you.
Point of order, Debbie Ngaruiwapaka.
Thank you. There's misrepresentation of our views, point 111, and also a reference to us. I think the Minister has misinterpreted the quote.
How has that happened?
Because he's got it wrong.
Well, that is a debating point, not a point of order.
Point of order, if the Minister is going to use TPM in his excuse, then the quote should be correct. Otherwise, he's misrepresenting us in the House.
There are avenues open to you if there has been a misrepresentation. It's not something I can rule on at the present time or in the present time. The Honourable David Seymour.
Mr. Speaker, since there's such interest, I can share more of that statement. It's perhaps even more frustrating to see them using state finances funneled through Te Whānau or Waipareira to promote messaging that aims to destabilise the state by rewriting, or as they'd call it, reimagining what our founding document actually says.
Oh, no, point of order.
A point of order, Deborah Ngaruiwapaka.
Debbie,
sorry.
So, first of all, there were 2 references made there, again, misrepresented, and there is an assumption from that Minister that they have used government funds that cannot be validated. We should not be having those accusations in the House. It's grossly misrepresented.
And that point is correct. It's also inappropriate to use question time to attack other parties or people outside of the House. I'd ask the Honourable David Seymour to confine his answers to the substance of the question that was asked.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Further statements I've seen just in that hour leading up to question time. I hope this message finds you well. I'm a Year 11 student and I wanted to reach out to express my appreciation for your work on the recent bill. As a young New Zealander, I find it encouraging to see efforts like yours that support positive dialogue around the Treaty of Waitangi. And finally, just in that short time, keep up the great work, David. There is enormous tacit support for your treaty principles bill. Bracket, people feel they can't speak up though. Mr. Speaker, that is just a small selection of recent statements I've seen, and they're part of a theme.
Mr. Speaker.
Just wait for the House to calm itself down. I can't be expected to judge the answer or the content of an answer within the rules of standing orders where there is so much other noise going on in the House.
Mr. Speaker, supplementary.
Pamjit Palmer.
What statements has he seen from school principals opposing the Treaty Principles Bill?
Mr. Speaker, I've seen statements from school principals to their community urging people to oppose the Treaty Principles Bill and even be absent from school to participate in hikoi activations. I can't miss the opportunity to say to those principals they have a duty to adhere to political neutrality, and there is nothing in the Treaty Principles Bill that will disadvantage any student, even one iota. However, students are disadvantaged by missing school.
That's enough. And we'll hear the rest of this question in silence. Answers the questions in silence. Told the House many times, no barrage.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I just make the point while you were standing that while the Treaty Principles Bill will not disadvantage one young person in this country, missing out on education because they're not at school or because their school leadership team is misfocused, i.e. not focused on reading and writing and mathematics and science and the skills that allow them to access the knowledge of the world, that does disadvantage students.
I have also repeatedly suggested that ministers keep their answers as concise as the questions themselves, and I'd ask ministers all ministers to reflect on that and to respond to that today.
Supplementary.
Dr. Pamjit Palmer.
Will the Treaty Principles Bill affect Māori language and culture?
Ka hore, or no. As I said at Waitangi last year, one of my goals is kia maimotea te reo me te ahureo Māori. That is to cherish the Māori language and culture. The Treaty Principles Bill protects the rights of hapu and iwi Māori as they stood in 1840. It also ensures that those basic rights of tiroranga, tirotanga and self-determination extend to all New Zealanders.
Supplementary. Will the Treaty Principles Bill affect treaty settlements?
Mr. Speaker, the Treaty Principles Bill is very clear that in Section 8 it says it should not be used in interpreting any statute in relation to a treaty settlement. And what I say to people who have these fears or anxieties about the bill, and I know that there are some, anyone saying kill the bill, my advice is read the bill, because you will find such details as that often show you that there's nothing to worry about.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary, Maria Memo Kapakingi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the New Zealand First making a stand to not support the bill at a certain point, and the same with National doing the same, where does that leave your bill all alone with you?
Well, it's not with me.
But the Minister.
Yeah,
Mr. Seymour.
I do know what was intended. I'm sure the Minister does as well. The Honourable David Seymour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What I'd say to the member is that being all alone with me is not that bad. However, that is not where this bill is, Mr. Speaker. This bill is opposed by people who say it won't go anywhere, desperate, ironically, to stop it going anywhere. And the reason that they want to do that is that they know that even sending this bill to a select committee and having a select committee hearing on it, even if it turns out, and I don't believe for a moment it goes no further than that, it will have democratised the debate on the Treaty of Waitangi. It will have ensured that each person gets to have a say. And when I hear people say Māori haven't been consulted, well, actually, every person will be consulted. Every person will be able to have a view on our founding document. And I think that is why so many people are so worried about this bill, because it shows that actually everyone else is going to have a say too. And there's the Green Party member saying, what about the divisiveness? It hasn't created any divisiveness. What it has done has revealed the divisiveness of people.
That's far too long for an answer. So we'll just, we could use up the time by cutting out questions. But Dr. Pamjit Palmer.
Speaker, what will the Treaty Principles Bill mean for the rights of New Zealanders and our future as a country?
Mr. Speaker, most importantly, it will fill in the blanks that this House left in 1975 when it said that there were treaty principles but failed to define what they were. It will give us a conception of our founding document that is based upon equal rights for all, and that in turn enables us to solve together the many challenges we face with health and housing and jobs, education and the economy. And in short, Mr. Speaker, will allow New Zealanders to overcome our real and tangible challenges with a shared and equal understanding of our citizenship and our rights in this country.
Supplementary.
Supplementary, Debbie Nauru-Paka.
Is the Minister implying that tinoranga tiratanga is derived from kawanatanga and reducing Indigenous rights to the set of ordinary rights?
Mr. Speaker, it's a very interesting question. I'm cognizant of your requirement to be brief in what is a 184-year debate. But what I make very clear is that under the Treaty Principles Bill, the rights of hapu and iwi Māori as at 1840 are protected. However, those are rights that anyone should be able to respect. And yes, that means the right to look after your language, your culture, to self-determine, to live in the way that you choose. A very good example of that is charter schools. A very good example of that is whānau ora, is devolving social services.
Good, I think we got the point.
Point of order, please. My question was specific. Does the Minister believe that tinoranga tiratanga is derived from kawanatanga? He hasn't addressed anywhere near the answer, please.
Well,
I'm happy to have another go.
I'm sure the Minister would be happy to have another go, but the point I would make is that the question was addressed. It may not have been addressed satisfactorily, but it was certainly addressed. Come now to question number 4, only 4 today. Question number 7, the Honourable Jenny Anderson.
Kia ora, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister responsible for Treaty of Waitangi negotiations. Does he stand by his reported statement that previous national governments had made good progress on treaty settlements and they hope to restore some of that momentum? If not, why not?
The Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
Yes.
How does introducing the Treaty Principles Bill, quote, restore some of that momentum when the bill has been described by iwi leaders as reckless, dishonourable and callous?
Well, I'm sure there's a wide variety of views amongst iwi leaders, but there are still plenty who are very keen to make progress on treaty negotiations.
Does he agree with Paul Goldsmith that former ACT Party leader and current leader of Hobson's Pledge, Don Brash, is a true New Zealand patriot, quote? And if so, will this help or hinder the momentum of treaty settlements?
I'm not sure it'll make any difference whatsoever, but I did write a book about that particular fellow 20-odd years ago, and that's on the record.
Yeah, good. Let's come back to relevance to the primary question.
Does he agree with Nicola Willis with regard to the Treaty Principles Bill, who said on Radio New Zealand, the debate, I think, can be healthy, but if one party seeks to impose their view on the other without consent, I think that's dangerous. And if so, will this debate restore some of the momentum of the treaty settlements process?
Well, I think, again, that question's drawing a long bow from treaty negotiations, which is work which is steadily working its way through the system. Now, it's true that 1 year in, I have not yet concluded a settlement with Ngāpuhi, and that is challenging work, and many ministers in the past have worked that way, and ultimately it requires engagement on both sides, and that's what we're doing.
Complimentary. If the debate on the Treaty Principles Bill is considered dangerous, why is he and his government choosing to ignore all the advice and warnings and proceed with a select committee process that is going to be one of the most divisive in Aotearoa's history?
Well, Mr Speaker, clearly the other side have woken up this morning and decided to have every question on this particular area today in the House, and they're so straining to draw different bills into different ministerial responsibilities. In terms of making progress on treaty settlements, we are very committed to continue to make progress on those treaty settlements. It's been something that across the House, both governments of all persuasions have worked together towards. We've got some progress, and we've got more progress yet to make.
Supplementary, the Honourable David Seymour.
Is the Minister aware that the Minister responsible for the Treaty Principles Bill is also the Minister responsible for charter schools, and that Minister's own hapu have been in touch with him recently asking about the possibility of running a kura horua, which goes to show that
Point of order, the Ricardo Mendes March.
Yeah, can I point to Speaker's Rulings 1976? Which
In relation to what, sorry?
to the supplementary the member to my left just asked. The Speaker's ruling states questions commencing with, quote, is the Minister aware, are generally not seeking elucidation but seeking to inject information or propaganda a member wishes to be heard. And I definitely think that that supplementary and other supplementaries most definitely fall in line with that Speaker's ruling.
Well, the supplementary was also very wide of the primary question as well, but I'm sure that the member can bring a question that is in line with the primary very briefly to the Minister.
Your confidence is well placed, Mr Speaker. In light of the above facts, does it not show that maybe actually it is possible to advance some matters while disagreeing on others, and that is how mature people conduct business?
Yeah, well, yes, I agree that people can disagree on